Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Prison Pillow Talk and my couch. Um, I know I said I'd be exposing corrections, or at least where I worked, the Oshkosh Institution, and I haven't posted any videos in a while. After the first two, it's not that I'm going to. It's just after quitting, I had to figure some life things out, and due to the harassment and everything with that, it kind of just left me in a bad place. So I needed to take some time to find happiness and kind of recollect myself. That being said, I will be continuing those videos with more, detail of the actual harassment, discrimination, what goes on behind the scenes in a prison. But today's topic is not so much about that. It's about something else that has, really been bothering me. And I want to go on record saying that this is probably the most important video that I'm going to make. I really want to raise awareness regarding this subject. It is a sensitive topic, though, so I on YouTube I see videos with like trigger warnings and things like that. So this is my trigger warning. So if you are easily offended or have traumatic experiences regarding abuse, you might want to tune out now. But so the topic I'm going to talk about today is the exploitation of children. I saw, or actually, my girlfriend told me about a statistic recently stating that the child exploitation industry is grossing more money in a year. I think it was like 146 billion, something like that, than all the airlines. So it's clearly an issue that our society faces, and it's only been exacerbated by social media, the internet, et cetera, et cetera. So working at Oshkosh Correctional, we had a high inmate population of SOs, which is blank offenders. And sometimes I would read the case files. We're not supposed to. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying that, but it's something everybody that works there does. There's really nobody that doesn't do it. We're human. We talk about it, and there's certain cases that really bothered me, and there was certain events that took place at the prison, and the lack of concern towards those events also really bothered me. Whether it was they introduced tablets for the inmates to have. I'll give a couple examples. So they introduced tablets for the inmates to have, and when the inmates first got access to it, one inmate, I don't know the specifics of how he did it, but he managed to get inappropriate images of children onto his tablet, and he passed that tablet. And just so you know, these aren't like the tablets that you or I would buy. They're much less. They don't have like internet access the same way. It's a way to profit off the inmates. They sell well, profit and pacify, because it gives the inmates something to do so they don't act out, and they fear losing their possessions, and then they have to purchase the movies or the videos or whatever, video games, whatever it is that they have on it. And like I think the movies get like 3 watches or something like that, or you have it for like 3 days, and then you have to repurchase it if you want it. So it's to, recuperate some money, because state prisons, despite popular beliefs, they're not profitable, and that has a lot to do with the amount of money is spent on medication and other things. But yeah, so this inmate was passing around this tablet, and eventually they got caught. And one of the inmates that had possession of this tablet, I was familiar with from working on a unit. Middle-aged male, never really gave any problems, but like it kind of surprised me, but at the same time, it didn't. But anyway, so yeah, he went to segregation for, having hold of that tablet. I think he only got 2 weeks in RHU and no outside charges, which is kind of crazy because I've seen inmates get like 30 days loss of room because they took an extra kiabasa. 30 days loss of day room where they can't go outside, and building confinement. So it's basically like you're in segregation while still on your unit, but not in the segregation unit itself, for taking extra kiabasa during chow, which is rather insignificant. But yeah, so while this inmate was in RHU, he went out to rec. I escorted him, and afterwards, I went through a cell. That's what we're supposed to do, is when they leave, you go through their cell and see if they're in possession of anything that they shouldn't be. And I remember finding a journal that he had, and he was kind of like writing, sexual fantasies inside the journal, and I still remember it to this day. Now, this was like 4 years ago, 3.5. It was a long time ago, but it's still up there. But the passage started out with, I was sleeping and I felt a warm sensation around my hard teenage blank. I woke up to see my underage brother performing fellatio, and then he goes on to detail a sexual interaction with his younger brother. I believe it was a fantasy. I don't know if he's speaking from his past experiences. But anyways, I confiscated it. I was upset. It was disgusting. So I called the supervisors, expecting at a minimum more segregation time, a conduct report, the whatever we could do disciplinary wise. I was kind of expecting it, but actually they just had me hold the notebook, the journal, and he didn't get any actual trouble. They just had me write an incident report, which is just documenting that it happened, which kind of blew my mind. Again, when you look at the policies, inmates on units aren't allowed to play like Dungeons and Dragons or like role playing games amongst themselves. So I just don't understand how playing something like Dungeons and Dragons is more inappropriate than writing fantasies about having intercourse with children. Um, yeah, so that didn't sit well with me. And then 2 weeks later, once his whole time was up, he released back to my unit where I worked third shift. And I went through his mail that he's sending out. So the way that it works is when an inmate is sending out mail to another inmate, it has to be read by staff first. A lot of staff members don't actually read through the mail because it's inconvenient for them to do on third shift when they have very few other duties to do. I don't know, it's laziness. But yeah, so I read through his mail. I still remember the name of the inmate he sent the mail to. From what I deduced, it was another male inmate at another institution that this inmate was in a romantic relationship with. And some of the things that he talked about were so the other inmate that he was talking to was releasing before he was. So one thing he said was, when you get out, I don't care if you have a girlfriend, just make sure that she's attractive. That way you can have kids or have children. And then once I get out, we can get her out of the picture and we can have our boys to ourselves. And there's other things said too. So I figured the tablet, the RHU incident, and now this, something should be done. So I called up and I was told to write another incident report. I don't believe he faced any discipline for that. Fast forward some time, this inmate released. I don't know how he didn't get sent to an institution that specializes in supervising SOs that are not ready to release back to society. But yeah, so he was on parole and he was communicating with another inmate inside the institution via the institution kiosk system that got installed later on, or with the tablets. So I happened upon one of his communications, and just remembering the name, I was like, "Oh, this can't be anything good." Like, I just had a bad feeling. So I went through it because all messages sent to the kiosk system have to be reviewed before they're sent out. That's another thing that staff don't actually do. They'll just hit approve to make it faster because they don't want to spend the time reviewing the messages. But anyways, in the message, he was talking to an inmate that was still incarcerated at Oshkosh. He was detailing his job that he was working at, and one of his cute male coworkers, as he called it, and then started talking about his coworkers' children and how he was going to invite them over and how they're so cute. He has to, show this inmate that. So, like, if you and I are on the streets and I have my phone, whatever, and I'm like, oh, hey, my kids are so adorable. Check. Okay, that's one thing. But I didn't see, like, a respectable parent. If I was an SO and I walked up to you and said, hey, let me have some pictures of your kids, because they can't send photos over the kiosk system. So for him to show somebody who's incarcerated the kids, he would have to take a photo, print it out, send it in through the mailing system. Um, and I just didn't see any parent that would allow an SO to photograph their children, send in, send in the photographs, and then, yeah, so that was kind of fishy to me. And then he talked about buying his own printer so he wouldn't have to go to Walgreens to print anymore. Just various like not okay things, right? So seeing that, now this is 2 years later after the RHU incident. So this is also when the harassment and everything was going on, and I was not being provided assistance by supervisors with issues, being isolated, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I called the security suite, so that's where the supervisors stay. And, my luck, the main supervisor that was partaking in the harassment was the one that picked up. So anytime I called the supervisor for assistance, she was unable to set aside her dislike for me to do the right thing. So like I already knew it wasn't going to go well, but I told her what was going on and why I felt the way I did and why I thought it would be something worthwhile looking into. And the supervisor agreed that it was disgusting, and then she asked what I wanted to do, and I said, well, we should probably forward this on. And then her response was, I can try, but I already know what they're gonna say. Not our inmate, not our problem. Which I don't agree with that train of thought, because he's introducing contraband, the photos of the children, to an institution with a lot of SOs. Yeah, so I said, even if that's what they say, can you please just try, right? Well, fast forward a couple of days later, and I got forced into first shift. So because of staffing shortages, you can work your 8-hour shift, get a call and say, hey, you gotta stay the next 8 hours. So that's what happened. And if somebody comes in early, they can relieve you and you can leave early, or like if a post closes at a certain time. But anyways, I got forced and then I got relieved, and we have to check out in the security suite. So when I got to the security suite, the admin captain was present, and when I spoke to the supervisor, she was a captain, and they're big on chain of command in corrections. So when she said, I'll forward it on, the next in line would be the admin captain. So as I was checking out, I asked the admin captain if I could speak to him in private, and he said I could. And then I asked him if he had heard anything about this inmate, if this captain had forwarded him any of the information that I shared. And the admin captain stated that no information was forwarded to him. And the thing is, the supervisor went on vacation the day after I informed her of this information, and she was off for a week. So I highly doubt it was her intention to come back after a week and then forward on that information. I think she just gave me lip service, forgot about it, went on vacation. And it's not even that I think that's exactly what happened. I know that happened because I spoke to the admin captain and he said he was never informed by the supervisor. But anyways, I gave the admin captain the rundown, and he connected me to the social worker that this inmate had. And I spoke to the social worker. Long story short, I went back into the system, took screenshots of the conversations. Dude was violating his parole, definitely was not supposed to be sending images of children into the prison to other SOs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So like the supervisor completely blew me off, didn't perform her job duties, was never reprimanded for it. Inmate was violating his parole. And this isn't the only time that something like that had happened. There's instances where like inmates' civil rights were being violated in our health services unit, the long-term care unit. And I informed the same supervisor, like, hey, I don't think we can legally do this. And again, refused to cooperate, continued to force staff to do the illegal practices. Then after I kind of raised the stink about it, they looked into it and then said, oh, hey, yeah, we can't legally do this. We should stop doing that. But there was no retroactive like discipline handed out to the captain for continuing the practice, even after being informed that it was illegal. And the inmates themselves are in a state of mental decline, so they just don't have the cognitive ability to file a lawsuit or a complaint through the proper systems. So it got swept under the rug. Anyways, with that being said, this kind of stuff really bothered me. And I like to think of myself as thoughtful, and I'm inquisitive, and I started thinking like, how the hell do these people get their hands on all these things, right? So I started to snoop, right? Like do my own like personal investigating and stuff like that. So flashing back again, back when YouTube had the random like video algorithm, because now on YouTube when you autoplay, it just plays things like, it just suggests the same things over and over. I don't know if it's that way for everybody, but that's how it is for me. Very different than how it used to be. I remember I watched, or not, I guess I did watch it eventually, but I had autoplay on. I was playing a computer game, right? Nerdy side of me. And then it like autoplayed to this video of these like small young girls playing in a pool. And I was like, kind of like, what the hell is this? And like, why is this on my autoplay, right? And I looked in the comments because it had a lot of views. And my thought is like, at the time, it's like, why would a video like this have so many views? And I looked in the comments, and in the comments, there was timestamps. I'm like, what are these timestamps? And I clicked on one of the timestamps, and it slid me back up to the video, and it was the girl's butt crack, like this young girl's butt crack. They're playing in a pool, and like her bathing suit like slid down halfway, and the people in the comments were like, they were loving it, like disgusting. I ended up I reported that video, and I believe it got taken down. But anyways, so when I decided to snoop, that video came back to, my mind, right? So, I don't want to give so much detail where somebody watching this would be able to find the type of content that I'm talking, like, I don't want to give opportunity, but I do want to raise awareness. So I started searching adjacent like videos, I guess you could call it. And I noticed a lot of like disturbing trends. So, there's the comments with the timestamps. Another giveaway is like the thumbnails of the videos. The way I describe it is that they're in a compromised position in the thumbnail, or an exploitive position. I think you guys can kind of understand what I'm saying. And once you find the trend, it's really not hard to find more videos like that. But essentially, these videos all have moments where the children are exposed. Okay. So obviously, that's an issue. I reported numerous videos of this nature. I'm going to say in the hundreds of this nature. And some got taken down, some did not. In some of those videos, they have millions of views, right? So, like, how does one video get taken down and one video doesn't, when they're like essentially the same thing? You know what I mean? So like, if you look at when you upload a video, it asks you if it's for children or not. And the videos that are tagged for children, you'll notice you can't leave comments anymore. My deduction is you can't leave comments on videos with children because of comments like those ones that I mentioned before. So that does eliminate a little bit of the problem. But another trend I noticed is on these YouTube channels, okay, let's say there's 10 videos, right? The videos that are not revealing will have like 50 views, right? The videos that are revealing, anywhere upwards of 1 million views. So, like, I'm not here to diss anybody's children, but these children are not doing anything so exciting that it would warrant such a high view count. The only difference is that those videos have moments where the children are exposed. So, like, obviously it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what's going on. And, you might not have the comments, but people are still going there for the same thing. And you report it. And for whatever reason, YouTube is not taking the videos down. So, my theory is it's profit related. They The videos generate views, so they receive profit off of it. And also, um, you know, my solution to the situation is that every video uploaded with children in it, or like for children, by children, however you want to phrase it, needs to be reviewed by an actual human being, not an automated system. The problem is, to do that, YouTube would have to spend more money to hire the staff to review those videos. They haven't done it. And I know that there is no way that they are not aware of this being an issue, because, like I said, I've reported videos and they have taken down videos that I've reported, which that in itself shows that it's an issue, right? Like, if I can report hundreds of videos, it's clearly a trend. And then also, they block the comments, right? So like, if there is no issue with the comments on the videos, they wouldn't have blocked comments, but like, they did. So what that tells me is that they have awareness of the issue, and they aren't taking the appropriate steps to deter that issue, and they're also not being held accountable for not fixing that issue, right? So my thoughts are, like, these kids, when they're, so I have a couple conclusions about how these videos get uploaded. So the first one is that kids are being kids. They're taking these videos, not realizing what they're doing, and uploading them. Now, ideally, this is when a parent should step in and review the content that their children are posting. But obviously that is not happening. My other conclusions are that the parents or the guardians are actually the ones taking the videos and posting them. I've seen, because it's not just singular videos, like some of them are, but there's also like whole YouTube channels where all of the videos are like in compromising positions of the children. And there's also playlists made where it's like collections of these videos, you know what I mean? So there's parents taking the videos, basically exploiting their children to gain views and profit, and not being held accountable. And I've taken some of the videos that get through where the comments still remain, and I've taken screenshots of the comments. That way I can say, like, hey, I'm not crazy. Look at these comments, and it's timestamps, and, comments where people are telling these like young children that they should do like OnlyFans or, things like that. So that's one. And then the other thing is, the children are coached into taking videos where they're in compromising positions, right? I mean, it's sad to say, but it does happen. And for the kids, this type of behavior is normalized, so they're not even aware of the fact that they're exploiting themselves. So if the kids are unable to chaperone their videos and the parents are unable to chaperone their videos, this is where YouTube, as the content host, should be stepping in, but they're not. Like, I shouldn't have to spend my time, and this isn't me complaining about, me spending my time, but it's more like the morality of the situation, I guess you could say. Um, I or others should not have to spend our time finding these videos just to report them. Because, you don't get any type of compensation for doing so. Like, it's literally out of the kindness of your heart, because, like, children shouldn't be exploited like that, right? Like, there's no reason why a down blouse shot, because you can't, I mean, you can pause these videos. There's no reason why a child should have a down blouse shot with a million views. And, now they go through that. Like, I imagine that'd be pretty traumatic once they grow up and they realize, like, oh, wow, like, this is what happened to me and I didn't even know what was going on. Yeah, so earlier I also mentioned, oh, the other thing. So a while back on Netflix, there's this movie called Cuties, I believe, that came out, and, like, people were in an uproar about it. They said that, oh man, what did people say? Like, the children were being sexualized, I guess you could say. And I like to look into things before I jump to conclusions. So I looked up this movie. I never actually watched it, but I saw is I think I either watched an interview or read an interview with the creator of the movie, and what the creator stated was that children these days are growing up so much faster because of social media, and they emulate the behaviors that they see in social media, which causes them to um, sexualize themselves and whatnot. And if people would have taken the time to hear the message, this is true, because people like views, and as an adult you get a lot of views, you're like, oh man, this is great. Same thing as a child, right? So, like, they see these TikTok videos and whatnot where women are and scantily clad or whatever, revealing clothing, and they have a lot of views, and they're like, oh, I want that too. So then they do the same thing. They wear the same outfits, do the same suggestive dances, upload them. You know, I think you understand what I'm saying. So, like, that's another way that the content arrives. But yeah, I've also, so earlier in the video, I said I started to snoop and I did some research. Well, I found websites with exploitive content of children. Like, I'm no computer whiz. I don't even know how to upload this video to, like, other platforms other than YouTube. And I was able to find this material. So it's not, unfortunately, it's not as hard to find as it should be. With that being said, I've reported over 800 different websites with exploitive images of children. And there's some things I'd like parents, future parents, good people in general to be aware of, that they don't think of. Like, some of these websites, they have links to children's photography websites, right? Although they might not, like, reveal anything, the way I liken it is, like, now granted, I'm in a committed relationship. I love my girlfriend, but like, um, if an adult sees somebody in lingerie, they get excited, right? Now you got to take that mindset and apply that to this situation. So if somebody in that mindset sees these images, it's no different. Um, then additionally, like, just baby photos or whatever, like literally anything where a child is in a compromised position ends up on these dark websites. I've seen these YouTube videos I'm talking about. I've seen them posted on these dark websites. So like, I'm not making this up. People find these videos specifically to post on these dark websites. So like, I'm all for being happy as a family and taking pictures and having memories to reflect on, but people really need to be mindful of what kind of things they're posting of their children, um, because they do end up on these websites. It's not outlandish to think like, I don't know, like it. I posted a Facebook status the other day, and I said, you know, um, if you share compromising photos of your children, that's no different than um, supporting like the child exploitation industry, or I phrase it somewhat like that, right? And it got 2 likes, which, am I salty about it? But like, back in the day when I was more fit, more attractive, I could post any dumb thing and that shit would get like hundreds of likes, like the worst dad jokes I can think of. Now that I'm older, I'm wiser, and like I post things that actually matter, it gets less it gets paid less attention. So that's kind of frustrating. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's a lot more prevalent than people think. And like, I've reported to the Center for um, Exploited and why am I dropping this now? Oh yeah, Center for Exploited and Missing Children. Um, numerous times, numerous times. Well, first I was reporting the videos on YouTube to YouTube, and then I realized, hey, YouTube's not taking these videos down. So then I reported to the Center for Exploited Children via phone call, and like I started to detail. I reported one specific website where people were uploading these inappropriate videos of children. Excuse me. And then I started to detail the YouTube videos and said like, hey, while this website is terrible, can you please also check into these videos, because overall they receive more like foot traffic, right? Like online foot traffic. And like, I didn't give any specific links. I just gave like a general, what is it, like keywords to look up. And I told them like, this is how you find them, because there's so many of them that I myself, and I only speak so many languages. I'm incapable of finding them all and reporting them all. So my hope was that they have more resources and they'd be able to find these videos, right? And that was like 2 years ago already. And some of those things are still up. But anyways, I reported to the Center for Exploited Children probably around like 10 times. Again, hundreds of links, like 800 of these. They'd probably be called dark web links. Hundreds of these YouTube singular videos, hundreds of playlists, which the playlists themselves have upwards of 30 to, I've seen some with over 1,000 videos. In addition to other things, right? Moral story is the content is still out there despite being reported, despite the obvious evidence that this is being used in, like, they're getting the views for these reasons. And that is part of the reason why I'm making this video right now, because if the same thing with my harassment thing, right? Like, if you're reporting it to the proper chains that you're supposed to, and they are not taking the proper actions, eventually you have to fend for yourself and, become knowledgeable yourself, right? And I'm just trying to spread knowledge and help prevent the further exploitation of children, because I mean, obviously it's wrong, right? No child should have to experience that, and nobody should be profiting off of that. That's disgusting. Yeah, I don't know if I'm missing anything on this topic right now. I've already been talking for a long time, but like I said, this is probably the most important video I'll ever upload. I really hope that well, first, I hope YouTube doesn't remove it. I mean, I'll be posting it to YouTube. It's kind of taking a dig on YouTube, kind of making some accusations towards YouTube, although I do have evidence to support my claims. And like, if they take down this video, that's kind of like them admitting that it's true and they're hiding it. But if they don't, like, I don't know what they're gonna do. So if possible, because I'm not tech savvy that way, please share this to other platforms so the information can be spread, awareness can be raised. Yeah, so that's one hope. I know I'm just a guy. I don't have any fancy titles or anything like that. Most people watching this video, or who are going to watch this video, they don't know me from Joe, right? But I have no reason to lie about this information. I'm just trying to do the right thing. So yeah, thanks for listening to me ramble. I hope this video makes a difference. Yeah, so please share. Have a good day. Thank you all. Bye.